So if I could, can you hear me?
Now we can.
Sorry. If we could call tonight's meeting to order of October 19th. Tom Chapa,
Here.
Heather Del Conte,
Here.
Pam Dowd,
Here.
Lisa Glidden, James McKenzie. Here. Sean Onmek. Here. Linda Serino. If you would now join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next is floor to the public, and we have Sean Hoare. If you could come to the mic, please, and give your name and address.
Hi, I'm Sean Hart, 229 Munn Street, Oswego, New York.
Can you hear him okay?
Hold it up? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Are you comfortable? We can hold that for you. Make it comfortable for you.
All right, Sean Hart, 229 Munn Street, Oswego. Okay, go ahead.
Yep, go ahead.
I thought I'd be at the end. All right, so I'm just here. I guess people are aware of what's going on now, but there was an incident happened at the school last Wednesday with my daughter, and basically kids from other classes came in the room, held her down and beat her. 2 students were there recording it. It was like a minute and a half. And at first the teacher just wandered around, and eventually they, with help from students, pulled these girls off of her. Now, I wasn't even called until my daughter called me from the police station where the ambulance was there, and they wanted my permission to take her to the emergency room. So the whole time, no one called, let me even know what was going on. I'm just hearing about it from my daughter at the police station, say she's on her way to the emergency room. Kind of felt like something should have happened before that. So I'm concerned as, she's back in school, like, how are we gonna keep her safe? And then after the incident too, there was another thing when they were outside, I guess, there was teachers recording what was going on outside. I have a lot of questions that I don't understand. I understand there's a meeting about this tomorrow, but I wanted to bring it to the board so other people are aware of this. And if there's all these fights happening, I mean, maybe we need to like amp up security here. Maybe like in Syracuse, have metal detectors, have more presence. I don't understand, I went to school when I was a kid, how you could leave your class, go. My daughter was sitting when the video starts. She's sitting in class. What she's supposed to be doing. That's why I tell her to go to school and be in school, learn. So my concern is, how are we gonna not have these kind of things happen? So I'm not happy, so that's why I'm here.
Okay. First of all, thank you for your feedback and your information. We would not get into the details here. As you said, there is a meeting scheduled tomorrow. I believe Dr. Sweeney and some of the administrators will be working with your child's mother, and also you are certainly allowed to be there. So thank you for your feedback. Please know that the district is working very diligently on this and any other matter that involves any incident that occurs at the school in terms of any fighting. So we appreciate your feedback, and thank you.
All right, thank you.
We'll be in touch. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the Board of Education. Item A, as presented, if I could have a motion, please.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
I'll second it.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next is the superintendent's report. Dr. Calvin.
Thank you. Good evening, Board. Thank you again to our public member who shared feedback today. Let me start by sharing in terms of updates. You know, our schools are certainly moving forward. I'm not sure if this is working okay. Can you hear me okay this evening? Our schools are certainly moving forward with instruction. I want to just say also that, you know, we, like many of the schools across the state of New York, are having some challenges in terms of, you know, outcomes and behaviors that we're seeing with our kids. It's interesting that this topic comes up tonight because one of the things I did want to share with the board was around what we're seeing in schools across the whole state. I have a couple things that are here. One talks about a district in the Rochester area. We have districts from Niagara Falls, from Corcoran, from the Liverpool area, Oneida area, Madison area, and what Utica zone. And what we're seeing in many of the schools right now across the state is that children are having some challenges in schools, right? We're seeing a couple things coming into the school. Kids have not been in school for 18 months or more in some cases. There's been some challenges in some households, not every household. We know that some children do deal with trauma in the household. And on top of that, we've been in a pandemic. COVID-19 has certainly had its impact. We've seen families lose jobs, households. And then we also see an enormous amount of, you know, just real challenges as kids transition back to school. So the stressors of being back in class, the full class day, the full class schedule, on top of a pandemic that continues to grow. So it's causing a lot of stressors and a lot of real difficulty. And so what we're working on very diligently as a school is really not just the issues that occur one at a time, but the entire system, right? Looking at the holistic system. One of the things that happened today at the high school is that they had a program that started today called Rachel's Challenge. And in Rachel's Challenge, what it does is it really looks at the entire school and how we might bring about change in student behavior. The program addresses bullying. Anti-bullying efforts are included in the program, but also just interactions and how children get along and social, emotional development and wellness for kids, and really just trying to work on reteaching a lot of those social skills. Like many school districts across the state and the country, we are working on those issues one step at a time. We also are working with our counselors. We have hired a number of counselors to help us and assist us. And I think also this has to be a holistic piece, right? So we were actually today in our cabinet meeting talking about how, as a whole school system, right, we want to take a little pause from time to time and reteach those social skills, those how to cope, those conflict resolution skills. And we're seeing that certainly that's a need that we have across the entire system. What we're going to be doing also is asking parents to help us, to partner with us by sharing and sitting down, talking, having conversations with kids, and be as proactive as possible. We're asking our kids and we're asking our parents, if you hear that something's happening or going to be happening in the near future, to reach out to us, to let us know. Why? Because we want to be proactive and prevent any problems that might occur with kiddos, basically. So we have a lot of work to do, but I do want to share that certainly is, we move forward, that is some of the things that we are definitely working on and really kind of moving forward with. Want to share with you on a bright spot. Last week at the high school particularly, we had some homecoming celebrations. So we had the homecoming game before and the activities towards the end. Switched around a little bit this year. But some of the things that the high schoolers did, they had a lot of School Lead Days spirit activities. The Buck Bowl was one of the fun activities that took place. They have a quest for the chest. Basically, they had this chest, and there was some kind of activity every day, and each of the classes got a chance to kind of participate. At the end of the day, the senior class won for the whole week, basically. But it was kind of fun, just a way to get kids, with some good school spirit and activities going. They had a full outdoor pep rally. Kids were able to spread out and keep themselves safe. So the staff is working very diligently to try to continue to move forward the school spirit, even though we're moving through a pandemic. So just a really nice bright spot of things that happen. We've last week and this week, we're still moving through a couple of our virtual open houses. We had all the elementaries, I think, are all done now. We have middle school and high school still left. So those things are happening, and the goal is just to meet and greet and say hi and get parents an opportunity to see what's happening in the classrooms. And then Also, just want to share with you that forthcoming, I believe it's November the 1st, we have our strategic planning team that will be reconvening. And the goal is to really look at all of the different parts of the plan, to review the plan, look at all the parts that are there, particularly the strategies and the main priorities. And we're going to break down into some small subgroups and start to really make sure that we move through and put some plans in place to make sure that we're addressing the different items in the plan. So I just want to share that with the board tonight. We have a testing update for you tonight. We were able, since our last board meeting, to reach out and work with Affinity for testing. That's the group, if you recall, that could do the testing for free. We were actually on the phone with them this morning. We're good. We were able to get ourselves locked into that free testing program. And so what they're saying to us right now is that the surveillance testing, we can start within the next 2 to 3 weeks. We have a logistics meeting that'll happen on Monday, and then once we have all the logistics set, we will begin to start putting information out. We are also working now on the staffing. We have a couple interviews that happened this week, and I think some coming up next week. So we should have the staffing hopefully in place, before the next board meeting for final approvals, basically. But 2 to 3 weeks, our goal is to have everything in place, and we're really excited about working with this group. Many of our other districts around us have also now caught on to Affinity, and they're going to be using them as well. So again, the funds that were coming from the county, we can now use those funds to shore up and take care of the staffing costs that would be involved to help with the testing. We don't have to pay for any of the testing through them, all free. None of the materials that have to go back and forth, none of the mailings, anything. It's all free, and it's all paid for through the federal government for the Affinity group. The other part, though, that we've learned since that conversation, we've had some discussion and emails back and forth with the county. So, what the regulations say is that every district, with respect to diagnostic testing, a little different than surveillance testing, you either have to have the capacity to do the testing or you have to be able to refer out. So we've been pretty much referring people out. I would say that while we're referring, we do know that sometimes there's a little bit of lag time in terms of how quick people can get an appointment. But the county has now partnered with Pulaski Urgent Care to have diagnostic testing. So a kid gets ill or has some kind of a symptom. What they're doing now is they're giving to each district so many slots that they can use a day. We get 48 slots. So if we have up to 48 kids who come to us, we can refer them to the Pulaski spot. They can actually go over at their appointment time on that actual day and get an appointment right away, basically, and get a test that day.
Mathis,
Yes.
excuse me, how would someone get there if they don't have their own transportation?
So the other part, because we know we might have some challenges, it is a piece where you have to kind of get there, but they also are working on now a bus. So what they're going to do is, throughout the week, they're going to have a bus that goes to certain sites, and the hours are between 2 and 5. I've signed this up as a potential site for those who can't kind of get out here or there, basically. If you can't get to Pulaski, then you would have to go to one of the other sites that we refer you to, or if it's on a day with the bus, right, you can come in and use the bus. So the bus will pull up 2 to 5 in one of our parking lots. Anyone who needs to take a test, you can do it, and you'll get the test back very shortly after you take it, basically. So the diagnostic piece, by the way, is free. No charge for any of the moms or dads. You just have to make sure you fill out the permission slip, and you have to come and sign whatever your appointment time is. You have to come and take your appointment, basically. So for us, I think that's a real plus. It's a real help. So it's kind of coming together a little bit now. So we've got, again, surveillance testing, diagnostic testing, and we hope that now all will be in place within the next 2 to 3 weeks. That's what we're looking for. There is no staffing need for the diagnostic testing. They just show up. There's no cost for us at all. Okay. Any questions on that at all, board? I'm sorry. Buddy, good? Good.
That's great.
All right. Okay, budget calendar. So I apologize, it's a little bit small, but I do have that in your packets tonight, the budget calendar we sent out. And in the recent discussions around the calendar, the board kind of shared with us, reminded us that we wanted to have some extra time to have some additional conversations up front as we kind of moved along. So we did go through and try to revise the calendar, especially in the upcoming board meetings. We put in some budget forms, and certainly during that time, whatever the board would like to talk about, we can. Some of the items that we did share about in transmittal that certainly could be discussed are board priorities, district goals, updates from the state, surveying the community. If you'd like to do a survey, a review of state aid, review of our current budget, reserves, whatever it is that you'd like to talk about, we did build in some extra time for us to be able to have those conversations. And just wanted to make sure that those revisions were okay with the board. Everybody okay with that? Okay, all right. All right, and certainly we can, whatever you need, questions or whatever information you like, let us know and we'll get that for you. All right?
So Dr. Calvin, since we voted on that calendar before, should we be voting on an amended revised calendar?
You can if you'd like to, but that's fine if you wish to.
Just
I
don't,
mean, we can if you want to make it official, yeah.
I think if, we're supposed to put forward our budget calendar for the
Sure.
public and everybody to know, right?
Sure.
So I think it would be a good idea.
Okay, so if you like tonight, when you
Make a motion to adopt the revised budget calendar as presented.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Second.
second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Okay, great.
it's done.
All right. Great.
Thank you.
The last thing I wanted to just share with the board tonight is around our efficiency study. So when I talked the last time, I shared with you that the transportation piece, we are working with Transportation Advisory Services. We have a meeting scheduled, well, we had one scheduled with them before the end of this week, and I think we were rescheduling that one for Friday. Thank you. And our goal is to kind of work through the study and the parameters and get a start date, basically. In terms of the fiscal piece with Rick Timms, he's starting this week. He's already started to say, can you start to give me feedback and information? And he's got some data pulls that he has. And by the way, with all of these folks, once they have their information set, they're going to come in and talk with the board and spend some time with you all and answer any questions and kind of work through things with you, for sure. The third part of the study is the program service delivery review. We've gotten two different proposals. One is from Mr. Paul Seversky and the SES Study Group and Associates. They are well known throughout the state, especially in central New York. The second group is the Costello and Silky Group, also known in central New York. Costs are a little bit more than what we'd like. One group is from between 50 to 54K. The other group is around 35K. In the past, these studies have been able to be funded or taken through BOCES to get aid on them. But unfortunately, what we're hearing is that BOCES is not doing as many of these as we would like. So we're still checking to see if we can get any aid on it, because that would certainly be good. But that is what's involved, and there are a high number of hours in it. What I will do is before our next meeting, I will send to you the proposal so you can see all the work and what's going into it, and then we can discuss it at the next meeting, basically. I will tell you that the Costello and Silky Group, at this point in time, would probably be my recommendation, just to share with you. Alan Pohl is a former district superintendent. He's down at the bottom. And then we have Lindsay, who's next to Lindsay Ayers. She has been a district assistant superintendent for business and instruction for OCM BOCES and a number of other BOCES. Alan has been at 2 different BOCES across the state. A lot of experience in looking at studies like the one that we're looking at as well. And I'll send you all the details on those folks as well, so that you know, and we can just talk through it at the next meeting. Okay. So Rick Timms already is starting transportation. By Friday, we expect to get them rolling. And then hopefully after the next board meeting, we'll have a final for the program part and get that rolling as well. Okay. Any questions on that at all, board? Everybody good? Okay. All right. All right. Well, with that said, that's all I have.
Actually,
Oh, go ahead.
I
Please.
had one question about, from the first slide, basically, the Rachel's Challenge.
Yes.
One thing, I was just curious, does it address social media or even like as you're looking holistically at the problem? Because I really feel like
Yes.
social media is kind of at the heart of a lot of the
Yes.
kind of caustic culture right
Yes.
now.
Yes. There was a live stream video today with the presentation, and they did have a whole portion on social media and the effects and how it really causes a lot of challenges, not only in schools, but with social groups and kids in general. So yes, there was quite a bit around social media. Now, by the way, this group will be in multiple times throughout the year to work with the high school, the whole school, holistically. And they also have a peer group that they are basically pulling together with kids who will actually act as social peers, right? And part of what they're going to work on and work through with the entire school is the whole social media piece. How to be respectful, how to be kind, how not to just go to social media and start putting stuff out there about people, how, social media bullying, all of those are topics that will be addressed and worked on with the whole entire school. I'll tell you, I have worked with Rachel Challenge before in my previous district, and, the group is not like a, come in and spray them with a little bit of professional and pray it works. It really is a long-term kind of piece that comes in and changes the culture of the school and really challenges kids' thinking and their behavior. And really, the goal is to change that behavior. So social media is certainly a big piece in all of that.
Is there a way we could see the video? Is it something
Yes,
that can be
sure,
maybe,
yes.
okay,
We'll
just so
send
we
the-
can have a better idea.
I believe Matt put it on WBUC today. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
So we'll
thanks.
get it out to the board.
Perfect,
We'll
thank
send that out to
you.
the board tomorrow, okay? Great presentation,
great.
great presentation to see. Okay,
And I don't think social media is limited to our teenagers or our children in school. It is a society
Totally
problem
agree.
all over, that it's just so easy just to type something and send, where 40 years ago, you had to say it to your face, and most people won't do that they're willing to type out and send. So it is not just limited to our adolescents at all. It is a whole society problem. Maybe we should play the video to everyone.
I was able to sit and watch it today. I know several of our
Public
administrators did
announcement
too. It's great, very good stuff,
Okay,
very good.
Thank
We'll share it
you.
out and you can see it as well.
Okay.
Okay?
Great, thank you.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank
Okay.
you.
Next is the consent agenda, items A through I. Could I have a motion?
Move it.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And next is personnel.
Good evening. Our professional staff recommendations are A through E this evening. We have a variety of appointments, teaching assistant, in-service instructors, our last couple elementary team leaders, and then a number of extra comp appointments, chaperones, and a winter sports appointment. So A through E as presented.
Could I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Lisa? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And then our support staff recommendations are F through J. We have a resignation, a leave of absence, a probationary appointment, 2 temporary part-time appointments for additional nurses to help out at COVID Central, and then J, our sub and temporary employees.
Items F through J, could I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Tom, second?
I'll second.
Pam? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next is finance.
A is our agreement with SUNY Oswego for their weather forecasting service for transportation. B is our ENV contract for Affordable Care Act reporting. C is a refinancing of the Oswego School District Public Library bonds. And D is a contract with Lisa Deeker as a keynote speaker for Staff Development Day. A through
Items-
D.
Oop, I'm sorry. Items A through D, could I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Second?
I'll second.
Tom? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next is the board, items from the board. Would any board members have any items tonight?
Go ahead, Pam.
My normal thank you to our administrators, our faculty, our staff, our students, our transportation. They fall under the support staff, all the support staff, custodians, aides, all of them. Thank you. It's a challenge, we know. Keep up the great work. Buccaneers strong. Thank you all.
Others?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I don't know if everybody saw the article in the newspaper regarding senior night for the football team, and the one player whose parents could not be there, and the whole team walked out and supported them. And I thought to myself, I said, that one activity, that one action carries an awful lot of weight everywhere, you know, and I think even though I think we got 2 wins this year so far, which is awesome, and they've come a long way, but to me, that's a winning season right there, just that action in terms of supporting one another. And I just think, again, they should be commended for that.
Excellent. Are there anything else? I just had two things, actually. One is, you know, I just want to remind everybody, next Tuesday, we'll be meeting in kind of a workshop forum. It will be public, but in an attempt to, you know, really nail down some ideas for our district goals.
We're virtual, though. Yes.
Virtual, yes, virtual.
The public is aware.
Yeah, so we'll have that advertised as well. But just a reminder to look over the goals from last year as well as the strategic plan so that we have a starting point, because we are limited on time. And then we'll be approving those once everybody gets a chance to vet them and make sure that it represents everybody. So that was one thing. And then the other thing I just wanted to bring up, and I kind of had a conversation with Principal Lanigan a little bit about this, but homecoming court is something that I've really struggled with for years being on the board. And I just really feel that if we're going to have a district-sponsored competition, it should have a purpose. It should really reflect something other than just popularity. So I just, in thinking about next year, I'm wondering if homecoming court would be an opportunity to have kids compete to become an ambassador for our school. In which case they would have to obviously, you know, maybe be mentored with public speaking and such. But I'd just like to see that tradition not wiped out, but made into something meaningful, something that, you know, isn't a popularity contest, but is something that we can actually grab a hold of and place a purpose on. So just putting that out there.
So can I just ask, because they didn't do that at my high school, and my experience of this is from the movies.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
Okay.
Yes. And it can get quite contentious. It can,
Right,
you know, it
okay.
can really foster, you know, a culture that I'm not sure we want to, you know, especially right now, that we want to reinforce. But, you know, and I do think that, you know, some students have resources behind them to really campaign, you know, whereas others don't. And so anyway, just something to think about.
Yeah, I love it, and I mean, the result of it would be it's a fabulous experience for the students to compete for an ambassadorship, not a popularity contest, which would serve them lifelong.
Yeah, and our district as well, so. Okay, that's all I have.
Any other items? At this time, would the board like to move to executive session for the performance, to discuss the performance of a particular staff member and security?
I'll move that.
I'll move it.
Can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
Would there be a need for a vote after executive session?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You may move to executive session. Bless you.